Thank you for showing up for our training today. So we're Student Connect. We're from BUSM 457. So I'm Suki from Hong Kong, Veronica from Taiwan, Patrick from Philippines. So the purpose of this training is to basically benefit the BYUH students. We need to talk about mainly go through the rules and policies of International Student Office, Housing Department, and also Financial Department. And when we go through this, and you will learn more about how the school runs, and also to reduce the confusion between you and the departments, and that will enhance your experience at BYUH. So we're gonna play a game. A game Kimberly please talk about the instructions.
So we're going to play the short game. This game is called the Guess Square. So who do you think that you are really familiar with the BYU Hawaii campus? Do you think you're really familiar with that?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So we took some of the pictures around the campus, and if you know the location, just raise your hand as soon as possible. If you know the answer. Okay, the first picture.
Near the art studio.
I think you raise your hands first.
Oh,
Okay.
raise your hand. The raise your hand.
You can answer.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. What is it?
Oh,
Library.
Yvonne.
Library.
Yeah.
Where in the library?
Left side. Left side. Oh, sorry, there.
Yeah, library. I don't know where. I just.
Which floor? Which floor?
First floor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, thank you.
Oh.
State Center.
Yes. Okay.
Outside.
Yeah, you're right.
Library.
Oh, you're right. Oh, Michelle.
Library outside.
Yeah.
Housing office. Right across housing office.
Yeah, you're right. Last one.
Oh, library.
Yeah.
Library.
He got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Library first floor.
Almost.
This is the park. State Center outside.
Kind of.
This is circle.
Yeah, soccer field. Who said soccer field?
James.
Soccer field.
That's the last one.
Oh.
Okay.
I forgot.
Foyer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Foyer. Okay.
Okay, so it seems like you're very familiar with the school campuses, huh? Thank you for your participation. And I'm going to talk about some statistics that we found from the survey we conducted for the past recently. So one of the questions on the survey was, how important are the policies of the following department to you? As you can see, the majority of the students, they say the rules and policies of the main departments are very important to them. And then, and this is another question on the survey. It's asking, how well do you know the policies in, of these departments to you? Because you can also tell, most of the students, they rated themselves average on the knowledge of the departments that they think they're familiar with. So when you combine the statistics results from the first question and this one, a lot of students, they think the rules and policies of these departments are very important to them, but the thing is they're not that familiar with them. That means they don't know quite a lot about the rules and policies, and that usually creates a lot of confusions between students and departments. When I worked at financial department before, a lot of students, they came with this, like similar questions, and also she's still working at the housing office in the same thing, same situation. Lots of students come with just like, you know, a certain kind of questions. So I think there's really a need for us to conduct a training like this and to benefit students, like especially freshmen and sophomore, and so they don't have to, you know, have the rumors around among the friends about the rules and policies of the departments. Okay, and from this one is another question on the survey. It's asking, how did you learn the policies of this department? As you can see, like the majority of them, they learn the rules and policies from their friends. And as I mentioned, that is a problem because usually when your friends tell you, like, it's different than what other friends tells you, right? So for us, we're gonna give consistent training for today, and so you don't have to doubt about that.
Okay, so the first department we prepare is the housing office. Okay, I prepared some of the common questions that students usually have. How to looking for the off-campus housing. So how many of you live off-campus right now? Everyone's on campus? Do you think move out to the off-campus in the future?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. So the requirement for the off-campus housing, you need to at least have 30 credits. So first you can go to the BYU Hawaii website and click the student and the housing. Click the off-campus. So you need to log in with your username and the password. Okay, you can select the semester. For example, it's 2013, next semester, male, female, couple. And there's a contract and non-contract. The difference is you need to over 25, age 25, in order to live non-contract housing. So if you're under 25, you need to live on contract housing. So you can see there's a list of the house for the next semester. In here you can see there's the information about the landlord, their email, and also their phone number and the address. And here you can see the picture of the house. And also he showed the rent per month. And here's the map, so you can know how far from the school. Next one is how to apply the TVA. So for the TVA housing, you need to pay the $50 housing process fee to the cashier office first. So you will receive the form from the housing office like that. So when you go to the cashier office, you need to get a stamp and the receipt number for this option. And on the top, you need to fill out all the information yourself and also your spouse. So in turn back to the housing office, and so it's usually take 2 to 3 semesters to get into the TVA. So when you apply, you won't get right away for the next semester. So you need to have a period of time for the waiting. So a lot of students, they apply the TVA ahead of the wedding day. Sometimes for before a year, sometimes half a year. Okay, and how to apply the single room and the Holiday one. So for the single room and Holiday one, you need to at least have 60 credits in order to live in Holiday one in the single room. So you also go to the BYU website. So on the left side, you can choose the residential hall. And then here it says Holiday one room request. And also you can check your waiting list number while you're waiting for the Holiday one. And also the single room request, male or female. So for example, choose male. You also log in with your CSID and password. So when you fill out all the information, you can just submit the request. Okay, there's some frequent questions that we usually receive from the students. So the first one is, what should you do if you got locked out? Who do you know?
We your roommate form called RA.
So right now, the RA office is open after 5 o'clock. What happens if you got locked out before 5 o'clock? You want to get into the room. So you need to call your roommate. This is your first option. Or second, you can call the RA to open the room for you, but they will charge $50 for the lockout fee. If you also you can do the community service to get back the $50 back. So can you change your room assignment or meal plan after you sign the contract? So for the meal plan, you can change the meal plan before this semester start. If that is easier, you just come to the housing office and sign the contract again. But for the room assignment, when you decided that your roommate or room assignment for the next semester and the housing already processed the work, it is kind of impossible to change it. And how to cancel the contract? So if you want to cancel the contract, also come to the housing office in the period of time. For example, for this semester, you signed a contract in the October, and you want to cancel the contract right now, you need to come to the housing office, but they will charge you the late cancellation fee. It's around $50 to $150, depending on the time. And how many credits you are qualified to choose club card. So since the Holly one and the single room, you need to have at least 60 credits to purchase the club card, and so you don't have to eat in cafeteria for the meal plan. And what happens if you forgot to sign the contract for the next semester? So when you find out you forgot to sign a contract, you need to go to the housing office as soon as possible. So if they already processed the freshman and return student, they cannot promise the housing for you. So if you forgot, just go to the housing office as soon as possible. Okay, if you want to go on admission, can you receive the allocation feedback? Yes. If you want to go on admission, you still sign a contract to make sure you have a housing case. And you can do the appeal later, and then they will give you the $50 back. So do you have any question about the housing so far? Yeah.
For the off-campus, we say they have a contract, no contract. So it's a different. What I mean is contract is for.
So the contract is mean the school go to the off-campus housing and talk to the landlord. They sign the contract to each other to promise this is safe house for the student. So if you have a non-contract, you have a possibility the landlord can kick you out anytime. Yeah.
Just a better place to live with the contract housing.
Yeah. You have more security and safe. So do you have any other question? Okay. So we'll turn the time to Suki for financial.
Okay, so as you know, I'm pretty sure all of you received an email from school. There's a huge change from, for the scholarship requirement for the institutional scholarship. There's a big change, a big system. So for now, in order for you to be eligible for the scholarship, you have to be enrolled like full time, which means 40 credits for international and both domestic students to be full time in school. And well, this is the first thing, and the second requirement is you gotta have enrolled 14 credits for the last semester, or 40 credits for the last academic year, in order for you to be eligible for the scholarship. Being eligible for the scholarship doesn't mean you can get the scholarship. It just means you meet the requirements to get the scholarship. And what determines the amounts you're going to get from the school is by this, for your cumulative GPA. So as you can see, if you have a cumulative GPA of 4.0, and you can receive $23.15 dollars for scholarship. Well, and then this is the range for that. So we gotta study so hard to get GPA of 4.0. Okay, once we are done with the application, and then the school will get that process, And right before the school starts, I mean the new semester starts, then if you're informed that you're going to get the scholarship, then you need to complete a survey and also write a thank you letter. And this is for additional information. If you receive 2315, let's say, well, I think probably, I mean, also chances you can get another extra of $250 or $500 from the department. It also means depends on the major. Like some people saying like business major you can get more since the departments like usually give you more scholarship compared to other majors. But it's not guaranteed. It also depends on the department. Okay, so I'm going to talk about external scholarship. For most of you, you may think that I'm not going to get, more scholarship other than the school scholarship. I can tell you this is not true. Because for me, I just got an external scholarship that means outside the school for a significant amount. So I just basically went online and applied. Well, I can tell you, in fact, most of them, they only benefits U.S. citizens. But I was lucky enough that I found one that I can be eligible for. So, okay, actually, in the past winter, 2012, I applied for this one, the Sorosmas Women's Opportunities Award Program. And I just basically applied that and had 2 recommendation letters from my teacher and then wrote my personal stories, and I just waited for about 2 months and I got an email saying that I got that award, and I was so happy because this is really a huge financial trust to me. So just that there is a long list on the school website. You can just go. Even though you're senior, you can still try on, because when I was winter semester, I was a senior already or junior, I don't remember. But I mean, no matter if you're freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior, you can still try, like just look at a few of them. So I'm pretty sure you will find something out of it. So it's definitely worth browsing the link. So the next one I'm going to talk about for Irish students. So just remind you, Irish students, you need to go to financial office every single academic year to complete your ISA with one of the financial counselors. One of the commonly asked questions for students in financial office is about return home ticket. So there are only 2 situations that you can have your return home ticket back. Do you remember when did you pay for the return home ticket? Yes, right before you came to the university. So the purpose of this one is to make sure you have your ticket back to your home country after you graduate. But there are 2 situations that you can get it back, as I mentioned. One of them is you go on a mission. The second one is you graduate. So for graduation, the student must go back to your home country in order for you to get your return home ticket back. But there are some cases, some situations that some students, they can still get the return home ticket back, even though they're not going back to their home country. But for this case, you need to appeal. That means you need to write a letter to financial office and go through the appeal process. Okay, and then it's time to talk about deferred payment plan. So, deferred payment plan is a good thing to, recommend, because some of the students, there's a deadline for tuition and all of the outstanding payments. If you don't pay your outstanding payments by that day, then you might be standing chances that being kicked out of the classes. That means you can't register and go to class for the whole semester. Some students actually did that. In order to avoid that, I recommend you to apply for deferred payment plan. If you know that your outstanding fees is not going to cover by your financial aid, financial award, then you gotta apply for a deferred payment plan. So deferred payment plan is pretty easy. You can just go online and search, deferred payment plan, then you can fill out the process. There are 2 ways to defer the payment. The first one is 3-month installment. Another one is one-time installment. You can, defer the whole payment until a certain date. So yeah, that's pretty much about financial office. So.
Alright, aloha!
Aloha.
Alright, are you guys still alive? Okay, good, very good. Okay, this is a very important thing that we need to discuss because we all know that we are going to the school of a very diverse, right? We're very diverse here. We have various of students from different countries. But we know that before we came here to the school, we know that we are subject to the U.S. laws, right? United States laws. They have a law for us to follow and able for us to like stay here in the United States. So some of that I will discuss, okay? Some of you may have some questions that I'm gonna answer right away, but if you have questions, just freely ask me, okay? Just raise your hand and then ask me if you have a question about what I'm talking about, okay? All right, so what we're gonna talk about first is how do I renew or replace my DS 2019 or I-20? Okay, there are these two kinds of forms that indicate like when are you going to, like how long are you going to stay here in the United States. So DS 2019 or I-20, these are the forms that you got from the US consulate. Remember when you went to the US embassy and then they interviewed you and then they had you like a stamp, something like that, that tells you about like, okay, this international student will stay from January 2011 to January 2014. Those dates are indicated in the DS 2019. But sometimes we have a chance that like, oh, I want to stay longer in the United States. I want to stay longer in the school. So you have to replace or renew your DS 2019. Okay, so how are you going to do that? How are you going to replace it or how are you going to renew it? So what you're going to do is gather all your valid information, or valid documents like passport or visa and stuff like that. And then you got to go to the International Student Service Office. Do you know where is that? Yeah, inside the admission office or the Lorenzo Snow building, right across Human Resources. Okay, just go there and then they have the form for you and then they will tell you how to do it. Okay, next thing is how do I renew my visa and passport? We know that there are expiration date for all of our passport, right? For example, like me, before I came here to BYU, I went on my mission to United States and I applied my passport, and then 2005 I applied and then it only lasted for 5 years. Okay, so I went here 2009 and then my passport got expired in 2010. Oh no. And then the result of that is like they stopped me on work. Like at my work they stopped me to work until I renewed it. Okay, so that's how serious it is if you get a visa or passport get expired. So if your passport is, you know that your passport is going to expire soon, you need to act very, very soon. So these are the things that you need to do. Okay, just in case you get a passport like expired, so what you need to do is if you have a consulate here in United States, you need to go there or you need to go home to renew it. Go to the Hong Kong consulate. Do you guys have a Hong Kong consulate here in Honolulu or no? So in that case, you need to go home and renew it. Okay? Lucky as the Filipinos, we have a Philippine consulate here located in Honolulu. So what I did is I went there and I applied for a renewal one. So they went there and then after 15 days, they asked me to come back and got my renewed one. Okay? That's good. The next thing is how do I change or exchange my visa status? Okay, there's a really good website for that, and then there's only one website that you can do it, which is this one I'm going to show you. It's called uscis.gov. Okay, this is United States. It says U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. In here, you can renew a lot of stuff like your status, your visa status, if you got married, which is I'm going to talk about later. And then if you want to change your status, you need to go to the I-539 form. So I-539, you can go there and then you can search it here. You just type I-539 and it will show you there, and then just click it, and it will show you, just click that, and then it will show you download the form. It's a form that you can fill out online. It's a fillable form, which is show you like that, and then put your family name and stuff like that. And then it will cost you, basically, it says here it will cost you something or somehow money to do it. And then you gotta submit it online. Okay? And then the next thing we're gonna do is how many credits do we need to have to be able to stay in the university? Okay? And for a full-time student, you need to have at least 12 credits per semester. Okay, you need to 12, for example, if you have 3, 6, 9, 12, 4 classes, you need to have 4 classes with 3 units each. Okay, and then for an iWork student, how many of you guys are in iWork here? We have many people, right? So if you're an iWork student, you need to have at least 15 credits or 14 credits to be stay. If you are also, as an iWork, you need to stay in the housing of the university, right? You can't live off campus. So for you to be able to stay on campus, and if you're able to stay in the school, you need to have at least 14 credits for fall and winter semester. Okay? For summer A and summer B, you need to have at least 6 credits. Okay? All right. So what happens if you marry a U.S. citizen? I did this on purpose because I myself married to a U.S. citizen. And what are the things that you need to do? It's very complicated sometimes. So I thought I need to discuss this. So just in case you thought of marrying a U.S. citizen, you have an idea what to do next. Okay, basically if you're still in the iWork program, the iWork will give you at least 6 months time to get your green card or permanent residency. The reason for this, the reason being is that if you're in iWork, if you are out of iWork, you are no longer entitled for the program. They won't pay your tuition fee, they won't pay your housing, and they won't pay your meal plan, which is very difficult, right? So what you need to do is on that 6 months time that they give it to you, you need to work on this. Sometimes it costs like $2,000 to get this, and you need to fill out a lot of form, which is you can find it on the USCIS. Okay, and then on that time, because if you have a green card, the reason for that is because if you become a U.S. citizen, there's going to be an available fund for you, which is FAFSA, which is the government will give you money for your education, which is really good. Okay, for all the people or all the students that have a low income. That's how United States are really charitable for all the students that can afford their education. So they will give you money for your education if you are only if you are a U.S. citizen. Okay. All right. Next, there are things to remember, which is these are the things that we need to remember, which is the reason why we invited people from International Student Services to talk about some of this. Okay? Maybe we can invite them to come and then discuss a little bit of this for you guys.
So that's basically for like some student that get married, they probably will have a spouse, and if you're an F, then your spouse will be an F2. If you're a J, then your spouse will be a J2. And for F, you're not allowed to work. Even like a J2 will have a different. It's a bit complicated because F1 is an exchange. No, sorry, it's an international student, which means you're coming here to study. And that's why you're only studying, so your spouse will not be able to work. But J is an exchange visitor. It can even be, some of the professors is actually under J visa. So it depends what type of, J visa has a lot of different types, so their spouse are allowed to work. So if you ever get married and your spouse would like to work full-time, then you will have to change your visa from F to J, and then your spouse would be J2. Then you apply for a work permit. And that's a complicated process, about 380, and I think they bump up the price to 390 recently. But it's just somehow like around 400, and there's no guarantee that you will get the work permit for the first time. So you may have to reapply and reapply. And the soonest time would be around 2 months. That's the soonest you can get the work permit. And the latest, oh, I don't know. Some people wait for a long time. So it will be pretty complicated process. So if you ever wanted to do it, just come in, we'll teach you. And then, but our office won't really do all this stuff for you. We double check, we let you know what to do, and then before you mail it out, we double check again, just to make sure everything looks right, so that your chances to be rejected will be lower. And what else? That's it? So anything you guys want to ask about, you can just ask me right now. If you have any questions about transferring to another school and stuff like that, you can just ask. Nobody have any questions? Then maybe I can just add a little bit more, yeah?
I have a question for, cause a lot of students now, they come on J1 visa, right? How about if they want to transfer to school after they come here, so what should they do then?
They're not allowed to.
Okay, so they can't really change the status, I mean change the visa before they transfer to another school?
Correct.
Okay.
Because a J is an exchange visitor, so you are an exchange student. So why on earth would anybody who are an exchange student would like to go to another school? Because you're only like exchange for a year. That's in their concept what the J visa is. You're exchanging, not exactly an international student. So that's why that's no point for you to transfer to another school. That's why. And but if you really want to do that, the school does not allow people to transfer to another school. So if you really want to do that, you have to come into our office and we probably can give you some advice.
Okay. Thank you.
Advice. Yeah. And then there are a bunch of different ways. So some kind of advice. And then for F, you're an international student, so you're free to go anywhere you like. And we'll have you to transfer to another school. That's basically the difference between J and F in terms of exchange and transfer. And what else? Any more questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
Alright, but a hand for our visitor. Alright, thank you. Oh, one more thing that I want to discuss, like really important, is that as an iWork student, we need to remember that we signed a promise to return, right? So that promise to return indicates that you signed a promise that you're going to return to your country. Because the purpose of our school is enter to learn and go first to serve. We come here to learn and then we go to our nations or where we belong to serve them of what we got here from the school. Okay? Alright, just a reminder for that. Okay. We would like to thank you guys for coming tonight. And then we named our presentation Student Connect. That is the reason why, because we want all the students to connect with the resources they have here in school. Okay? Which is the financial office, international student services, housing office, and many more. Use those resources. Connect with them. Don't just get your information from your friends, because we know that sometimes communications may differ. Like sometimes you say, if I say something to other person, and then he might say something to other person differently. So the best thing you can do is go directly to the source, to those office, and then they will give you an accurate information that you need. Okay? Alright, we would like to thank you again, and then we have some refreshments over here as a reward for you for coming here. Okay? Thank you very much. All right.